Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for having the hearing, and thank you to all the witnesses. Before I comment, I just want to make one point about Mr. Neal's comments regarding the fires in California. I think it's really important to remember that we are the Congress of the United States of America, not red, blue, or otherwise. If there's a natural disaster or a horrific situation such as the people in Southern California are experiencing, as members of the Congress of the United States of America, we need to be all in to provide help, irrespective of where those people happen to reside. So, Mr. Neal, thank you for bringing that up. You know, we're going to hear a lot today, we already have, and I'm sure we will for the rest of the year, on how the Trump tax cuts delivered for working families. Let's be clear. The ones who benefited the most from these tax cuts were the rich, the very rich. Working families received pennies compared to the billionaires. And that's not the only misleading claim my colleagues on the other side have made about the 2017 tax bill. They claim to be champions of fiscal responsibility, while it was their tax bill that added $1.5 trillion to our national debt. Every economist, even the Republican ones, say tax cuts don't pay for themselves. Extending the TCJA would add almost $5 trillion to our debt over the next 10 years. And if you add all of President-elect Trump's list of tax cut promises, that number jumps up to about $16 trillion. The Trump tax cuts did not deliver for the middle class. A taxpayer earning $1 million or more received a tax cut almost 300 times greater than a taxpayer making $50,000 a year. The fact is, it was a Democrats' legislation that delivered results for economic results for the middle class. For example, the CHIPS and Science Bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, all contributed to increased domestic manufacturing. It wasn't the tax cuts. Since the IRA was signed into law, companies have announced over $130 billion worth of investment in clean energy and electric vehicle manufacturing. My friends on the other side of the aisle should go back home and see for themselves, because 85% of the IRA investments in new projects have gone to Republican congressional districts. And the 2007 tax bill raised costs for millions of our constituents, 2017 tax bill for our constituents, by capping the state and local tax deduction. About an $8,000 a year tax increase to people in my district. Mr. Duke, Republicans claim that the TCJA is responsible for increased domestic manufacturing. Let's take EV manufacturing, for example. What have been the benefits of the EV credit, and what would happen if the Republicans repeal that?
So this isn't just an economic issue, this is a geostrategic issue. This strong industrial policy that the Inflation Reduction Act's EV credits are an example of are positioning U.S. automakers to catch up and lead in global manufacturing excellence. Firms have invested more than $81 billion in domestic EV and battery manufacturing since it passed. And it's helping close the investment gap with China, making the U.S. EV industry the most invested in EV industry on a per-country basis. These are the vehicles of the future. We can't let China, dominate that market.
Thank you very much. Ms. Silver, you were the past chair of the National Association of Manufacturers. You refer to that in your testimony. Do you agree with Mr. Duke on the importance of the EV tax credit and the Section 45X of our manufacturing sector?
I can't answer that question, but I certainly can follow up with you. I don't know about the EV tax credit to speak to it.
And the advanced manufacturing production credit?
I can follow up with you after this for sure.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gallagher, you talked a lot about farmers, and you talked about certainty and predictability. Would you agree that if we really want certainty and predictability, and we really cared about our farmers, we'd take this tariff discussion off the table now?
Thank you for that question. I
I've not looked at how any tariffs would impact our farming community, so I'm not.
Well, we have experienced what they did last time, and you heard from Mr. Doggett how we had to bail out farmers because of those tariffs.
I know that my farming clients have benefited greatly from the TCJA provisions, specifically on the 199A, full bonus, and lower marginal rates, and the increased estate exemption has been a major benefits for my farming clients.
Thank you. Yield back.